Are you ready to reclaim joy in your life? Why joy? Why now? Welcome to Joy Rules with me, Lorelei, your joy guru. While the world looks like it's at a breaking point, burnout, stress, isolation, and overwhelm dominate the headlines. Within all this, there's a longing for something deeper, something that heals beyond the mind. Joy fuels health, sparks expansive thought, aligns us spiritually, and connects us to one another. Join me as I weave astrology, intuition, and modern psychology to ignite your soul's highest alignment. Each week I sit down with luminous guests who embody joy as a spiritual path, a creative force, and a way of life. So take a deep breath, open your heart, and let's dive into the joy. Because when joy rules, transformation becomes inevitable. Hello, my playmates for the soul. Another episode of Joy Rules. I am so excited. And because many of you, myself included, are leaving old identities behind. Things that used to work, ways of self-expression, versions of yourself, have you noticed? They're just like disintegrating or dying or not working anymore. And it's in that, that in between trapezes where many of us are now. So I want to talk about one planetary shift that's going to happen tomorrow morning at 6:47 a.m. Eastern Time, and that is that Venus, which is the planet of love, the planet of what we value, what we appreciate, the planet of beauty, the planet that brings us joy. Wherever Venus is in your chart, that's where your joy is. Well, Venus, since May 19th, so a little over 3 weeks ago, has been in the most emotional, sensitive, vulnerable sign in the zodiac, Cancer, the initiating water sign. So there's been an opportunity to really get in touch with what you need on an emotional level, what makes you feel safe, secured, nurtured, nourished, and perhaps to also encounter parts of yourself that feel needy, clingy, defensive, pissy. Tammy Billups hates when I use that word, but I'm a New Yorker, so I use that word, Tammy. Well, tomorrow morning, Venus is going to leave these sensitive waters of Cancer and dance into Leo, into the fixed fire sign of Leo, the sign of joy, the sign of courage and confidence and generosity and heart. And you all know how I love music when it correlates to the cosmic weather. So here's the song. I'm dating myself, but Sharron will know this song. Fairy tales can come true. It can happen to you if you're young at heart. That's the opportunity that we all have with Venus dancing into Leo, is to really value, like look for the joy. Know that there are moments of joy in your life that you may not have called joy, but I promise you, if you're smiling at anything, you're in a moment of joy. It may only last for 30 seconds, but the point is you are in a moment of joy. So it is simpler than you think. So with that said, I'm going to bring on my luminous guest, who is a double Venus herself, Sharron Ragan, a double Taurus. And Sharron, welcome to Joy Rules. And it's so perfect you would be wearing red.
Well,
I'm
thank
wearing
you.
blue to honor the Cancer energy, and you're wearing good.
Kind of a pinkish red today.
Yes. So you are in one of the most significant astrological cycles that any of us will have in a lifetime. We all get it sometime in a lifetime, but it's literally a cycle of eliminating ways of being or ways of defining oneself that don't work anymore. And sometimes that can come through great struggle and great pain and outer relationship stuff. But out of it comes this, phoenix rising from the ashes, and whatever has died or has been left behind is no longer operative in that person's life. So for you, here you are right in the middle of one of the, as I said, probably one of the most significant cycles that any of us can have. And I just want to say a couple more things about your chart and then let you run with this.
Yeah.
Because I thought about this today when I looked at your chart again, and I thought, wow, it's like you are being invited, summoned to literally come out of the closet. I mean, you've come out of the closet for years in terms of your spiritual gifts and all of this, but literally like putting a bow on it because your psychic and intuitive abilities, you come by that so honestly with all your Taurus energy in the 12th house, in the house of Pisces. So, want to talk about your transformation?
Oh, and I don't know that I've fully transformed yet. I think I'm in the middle of all this transformation. And yes, in the past months and even in the most recent weeks, there's been a lot of shifting, a lot of transformation, just transition as well, like a lot of transition. And I know that I always trust what the universe is bringing, even though it's not always comfortable. Like you said, there's an awful lot of shifting going on. I feel like that this astrological energetic shift that's going on in the world has really allowed me to literally ground and anchor why I'm really here.
Mm.
And I think that that is a question a lot of people have is why am I here? What am I here to do? And I have found over time that so many people have all the right pieces, have all the right stuff, but there's something that keeps them from moving forward. And I myself have experienced that. You
And
know,
what is
I
that? And what is that that
I
keeps them
think
from moving?
a lot of it is not having self-worth. It's about moving through life, even if you're successful, even that you have successful opportunities or you actually accomplish successful things, deep inside there's this little voice that says you're not worthy, or you don't feel worthy. And I know in my life that has been probably my biggest challenge is that I've been able to accomplish a lot of things in my life and a lot of opportunities came my way. And many times I passed those up because I did not feel like I was worthy of those or that I was being, as we use the term sometimes, an imposter,
I was
that
just
I'm not
thinking,
really
yeah.
meant to do this. This is not really me. And in my journey, and especially recently, I've realized that, yes, I'm meant to do a lot of things, and it has taken a while for me to really, perhaps, really embrace that. I've embraced it, but I don't think I embraced it spiritually, 100% spiritually. And what I know now is that based on my journey, because I've spent my life literally working on understanding what it feels like and means to be worthy, claim that worthiness, and then allow that energy to give me the ability to align with the universe to go out there and do the work that I'm meant to do.
Let me
It's fun.
validate, if I may, exactly what you just said about worthiness.
Mhm.
Worthiness is a Taurus construct. It fits under self-worth, self-value. And you're a Taurus sun, you have Mercury in Taurus, you have Mars in Taurus, you're Taurus rising. So I just wanted to, it's like we're all, that whole thing about we're all teaching what we need to learn, right?
Yes, yes. And I mean, I've spent my whole life cultivating my inner wisdom, my intuition. Even
Yeah.
as a child, I knew that I was different and I knew that there was something within me. I was very aware of it, but yet I wasn't quite sure how to use it.
Mm.
And in my lifetime, I've had two or three, shall I say, profound situations that brought that to my attention. And I know now, and I think this, and actually, this has even happened in the last couple of weeks. I have gotten 100% clear that I am here to guide, teach, lead, whatever it is I need to do, women in understanding that when they don't feel worthy, even though they're succeeding, and they want to be in a place where they have worthiness and they feel confident, that the bridge to that is intuition. And
Mm.
intuition is your inner compass, your
Yes.
inner guide. It is the piece that if you spend time on cultivating this, and if you spend time on understanding how important your inner wisdom, your inner intuition is, it will bring you what you're looking for. It will help you achieve more confidence. It'll help you achieve more purpose. It'll even help you understand how to be more spiritually connected. And I think we rely so much on the conscious mind, the outer, what the world tells us we should be, what the world tells us how we should perform, and that we get caught up in that. And granted, I know that we do have a lot of situations in our lifetime and even in early childhood where we get programmed. But the point is, the more that you work on fine tuning your inner wisdom, which is your intuition, you will begin to dissolve that programming and step into who you truly are and who you came here to be.
Mhm.
And I'm on a mission. I am on a mission to work
Watch
with
out,
women.
folks.
Yeah, as a transformational coach, I am on this mission to do my work and bring this to the forefront and to be able to guide women everywhere that are dealing with these feelings. Because when you compare yourself to others, you'll never win.
Just out of
Every time,
curiosity, though.
think about that.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, you don't think men have these issues? Or
Oh, I
they're
know
just
men have these issues.
okay.
Um, I think they have them at a different level, though. I think that men, even though
Because
a lot of
worthiness is
men,
a human issue.
yeah, it is a human issue. I mean, let's go back. We're all born with intuition, whether we're male or female. It
Absolutely.
doesn't matter. It's a guiding, it is a guiding compass. Now, women, I think, are built a little more to tap into that intuition, and men resist it.
I
And
guess,
and and even if they use it, they won't call it intuition.
yeah, I guess I'm just thinking astrologically, because if a man's got a lot of water in his chart, he's obviously geared to the intuitive. It's just that's another conversation. So let me ask you, Sharon, how would you suggest, like for today, what you just said, and people I'm sure are nodding and going, yeah, I know I need to trust I know that voice. When I unravel the situation, I go back to my initial impression. What's a couple of practical tools right here, right now, very Taurus, that someone can use to tap more into what they know is there?
Yeah, the first thing that you start with is literally it's little small steps, but it's allowing yourself to hear a voice.
Yeah.
And when I say hear a voice, it may not be an actual voice, it may be a strong thought. But I'm gonna give you a great example. Let's just say that I'm sitting here today and I close my eyes and I ask a question. Do you have a message for me? Because I'm already trusting that there is a greater power. I'm
Hmm.
trusting that the universe has messages for us. And let's say that message says, well, go out on your patio. And so I get up and I trust that. I get up and I go out on my patio. And as I walk out there, stand there for a minute, I might hear the birds singing, I might see the wind blowing, and then I would become conscious of, well, wow, now that I'm out here on the patio, what does that feel like? And maybe it might even be that I see a cardinal and a cardinal has meaning to me, that
Hmm.
maybe that means that that's a loved one or someone giving me a message. But I'm being present in that moment. But
Hmm.
then I close my eyes again and I say, okay, what do you have for me? And then it might say, take off your shoes, go stand in the grass.
I
And I'm
just did that
thinking,
this morning. I can't
yeah,
believe
I'm like, that's silly. Why am I going to take my shoes off? But I do it. So I
it.
take off my shoes, I go stand in the grass. And at the same time, my conscious mind is saying, what are you doing? That's so crazy. It's like, it's like you're making this up. No, I'm not making it up. It's a voice, it's a message. So I go stand in the grass. And then I really say, I feel a little better. I actually feel a little grounded. Or I might even say, oh, there's prickly things in the grass. It hurts my feet. But then I might go, why am I complaining? Why? What? So it's curiosity, but it's
Hmm.
also trusting that curiosity. Now, those are the small things to start with. And it may sound crazy, but the more you work on these small things, the more you take the action, the stronger the information becomes, the voice or the whisper or the thought. and you go to the next step and the next step. And then maybe one day that voice says to you, get away from this person. You are in danger. And you trust it 100%. You're looking at that person. They look like a normal person. I've spoken to this person a couple of times. I don't think I'm in danger, but you are getting this message and you move away, or you go away from this person, or maybe it's someone that you were even dating, or someone that a new friend you're making, but there's something inside telling you something. And then later you learn that this person maybe isn't as honest as you think they are,
Hmm.
or that they had a hidden agenda in mind regarding you. And this is where a lot of people, their mind starts to tell them, oh no, don't listen to that. This person looks perfectly normal. And this is where I think we have to work on ourselves, because we've been so conditioned in society that we're supposed to be a certain way. I mean, there were times when I first started out and really began to fine tune the messages that I received, I would get in my car and just drive down to the end of my driveway, and I'd go, okay, left or right. And whatever pops into my head first, if it said left, I'd turn left. And then I followed that messaging. I know it sounds crazy, but
Mm-mm.
it always took me somewhere where I learned something new or met someone new that was profound. I mean, very profound. And
And
then I
what
would
I
come home later and go, wow.
as you're talking, because I know we've known each other for years in different iterations. I mean, you were psychic in a suit, right, at Coke. I mean, there
Yes.
was way back. But I'm just thinking, I'm seeing you with new eyes as we've reconnected in this what we're doing now. Because, as I said, your Taurus energy is all in the house of intuition, the Pisces
Yes.
part of the chart. But this is what I just experienced from you, and I think what other people do as well. Taurus is so soothing, even if you're not feeling it necessarily in a moment, but so soothing and so calming and so grounded. I mean, Wayne Dyer was such a beautiful example of Taurus energy. When he spoke, it was simple. He made concepts understandable. You do the same thing. Like, you create a space of groundedness and soothing to do this. And when you said before, I'm on a mission, your Jupiter in the chart is the planet of the contract with the universe, with God and the universe. Your
Mhm.
Jupiter is in Aries. And Aries is the pioneer. I'm going here, I'm doing this. And my point is that Jupiter now is dancing with Neptune. And I mean, in other words, like, you've led many things. You've been a leader your whole life, but this is like a
Mhm.
whole new trajectory of leadership in a sense, because when you said before curiosity, I always think of the breakthrough course room when I think of curiosity. Your Venus, the planet that's so important for you as a double Taurus, your Venus
Mhm.
is in Gemini. So you have a lot of tools. You have a lot of ways to communicate these psychic or these intuitive. Because when you said before, listening to the intuition, I always think God voice for me. That's the word that I use for myself. It's kind of like, oh, thanks, Holy Spirit. That was a good thing for me to do. Or, you know, um, so, so you've created all these programs, right? And so
Yes.
what is it that brings you the most joy in the things that you are excited now about offering to others?
Well, and I've been working on for some time, and I've finally brought it to completion, is an entire program on stepping into your worthiness, how to step into your worthiness through your spiritual, it's really more of spiritual development, and to transform your life so that you can claim that you are who you are, and also claim that you're much more successful and worthy, and have a great purpose. And I've been working on this for quite some time, and exactly how I wanted to frame it, because it does go back a little bit into how did you grow up? What kind of program do you have? Because in order to step into this, you have to acknowledge that there are reasons why you're not feeling worthy. And if you can't acknowledge that and address that a little bit, it's going to be harder to step into
Hmm.
really claiming this inner compass. Now, the one thing I do want to say that was part of my journey that I learned as I began to develop more and more and feel very confident about the messages that came my way is that when a message came that I was like, oh, I'm not so sure I want to do that, I would then say to Spirit, okay, if you want me to do that, then you have to bring it to me. You know? And there were many times that I'd be in a crowded room with people, and maybe there was someone there that was well known or someone I wanted to talk to, but I wasn't quite sure if I should approach them. I thought, okay, Spirit, I'm across the room. If I am supposed to meet this person or speak to this person, please bring them to me. And I would just keep doing my thing, talking to others, and wait. And every time I did that, that person would literally be walking across the room, looking directly at me, and walk up and say, I haven't met you yet. Who are you? And so I knew, oh, there's my answer right
Yeah.
there. And so I think it can be a two-way street in how you learn, is that you can also ask the universe to open the door for you. But then you have to be willing to step through that door. And it is, I think the other part, and this is a hard thing for me to frame out sometimes, is that we have a lot of society restrictions, because and I won't get a lot into religion, but in a lot of religious organizations, they're telling everybody what we do is wrong.
Right.
They're telling us that don't go there, don't get into this, don't listen to your inner intuition. You've got to listen to God or listen to us. And listen, I listen to God, but I also know that a lot of organizations want to put restrictions around what people can and can't do. And again, it causes you to feel that sense of unworthiness because you're basically being told you're not worthy enough to listen to your own guidance.
Right.
You have to listen to the guidance of others. And there's nothing wrong with getting advice or input, but when you are literally performing based on someone tells you how you have to perform, that's a problem.
And
And you're
all
not,
of that is crumbling now. All of that has been
yes,
crumbling the last few years. All those old definitions of self, exactly. Like still people still thinking about, well, but this is how I always did it. And yeah. And so your message is so timely. And interestingly enough, since you are in a transformative cycle,
mhm,
right, of
yes.
letting go of any old definitions of you and stepping into this, new iteration, you're modeling that for people they know that they're right on the edge of some sort of change and they're excited, but they're scared and all that worthiness stuff is coming up.
Yes, and I grew up Southern Baptist. I mean, my family was very religious, and I even went to a Baptist college. But I'm glad I did because I had a good foundation. But as time went on, I realized that just wasn't a religion that worked for me,
Hmm.
and it also drove me to understand and educate myself on religion so that I could be a little more informed about it. And to the point that I eventually went through a program, a 2-year program in becoming an ordained minister, and to understand many things about what people are struggling with when they want to leave their own religion because they're feeling spiritually connected. And I work with a lot of women, especially who are feeling they're feeling as though they're not being supported by their family or by their spouse or by their
Hmm.
friends because they're listening to their own intuition and stepping more into being who they are and their own purpose and defining themselves, and they get criticized by others. And so I work a lot with helping them understand your intuition will actually become your resource, your guide, even your protector if you focus on developing that. And we have to get to a point where we let go of what people think of us. And that's happening now too.
Hmm.
Actually, I'm reading a book right now, which someone had suggested. It's called The Courage to Be Disliked.
Ooh.
And I
Ooh, for
thought,
all us
yes,
Libras.
I know. And so it's like, and I get the point of the book, and it's kind of like the Peaceful Warrior in that it's a student that keeps going to a professor every week to ask him questions and debate him about,
Ah.
why do we care what people think about us? And so that's another part to this too. And I would say that in my many years of wisdom now, now that I can claim that I am a wise woman due to my age, um, I realize now I really don't care what anybody thinks anymore. I'm so focused on moving forward and serving others
Right.
that if you don't like me, okay, I'm fine. There's like
Yes.
millions of people on this earth, and I'm sure they're not all going to like me.
Yeah.
And who cares? So and that's also freedom because by learning to feel worthy, I have freedom in not caring what anybody thinks about
Absolutely.
me.
I'm
And
with you.
that's worthiness. That
Yes.
is worthiness.
And and
So,
and one other thing about the 12th house where all this Taurus energy is, a word I haven't used with you, but it's ministry. It's the house of the minister. So I mean, your life is your ministry.
yeah, yes, it is. In fact, when I was in high school, I'll never forget this. They had these tests that, and this is back in the 60s. They had little tests where you could kind of find out what your interest was, and you had to take this test, and then it'd say, oh, a teacher, or this or that. Well, mine said I should be a minister. And I laughed at that. I was like, there's no way. I'm not doing that. No way. Now that's come full circle.
Well, and that comes from your Capricorn moon because the Capricorn moon is the one that was raised Baptist,
Yeah.
that very stringent. So, I mean, that's interesting.
Yes, and I find that so many and I go back to women, but even men too. I mean, I've had men students that have been in some of my programs and classes, and who don't feel this sense of worthiness, and that they want to develop their intuition. Like I said, women are a little more wired for it because if you've ever been a parent, you know the difference in a child's cry, whether it's a hurt cry, a whiny cry, or just a I want something cry. And we know that immediately, intuitively. We feel it in our
Yeah,
bodies.
yeah.
And so we have other ways when different things happen in our life. You may feel it in your stomach, in your gut, because your gut has an intelligence. You
Hmm.
might feel it, you might hear something, you might have visions. There's so many different ways that the what I call the inner wisdom, the inner compass can develop and and guide you and give you senses. I know that, one person says that she gets this little feeling, like this little twitching in her nose, and her nose itches a lot when something is going to happen. And so, and then there's coincidences. I mean, we say there are no coincidences, but there's synchronicities really when things happen. And then you go, oh wow. In fact, that happened to me today. I was digging through a file for some things, and my card, my ministry card that I would use if I were to go into a hospital to sit with someone or to counsel. I have a card that says to the hospital, yes, I am a verified minister. Um, and I found it. It was in this file, and I had forgotten that I put it in the file. And my mentor, Sherry Gustafson, who actually has the spiritual ministry program, I looked at that and I said, you know what? I think Sherry's going to call me today. And literally, about 2 hours later, she called me. So I
Well,
knew my intuition told me immediately.
they say that coincidence is a miracle in which God remains anonymous, and we are complete for today. We'll have to just do this again, and I can't wait to see what's going to come out of this powerful transformation that you're in. So thank you so much, Sharron, for um, accepting my invitation and for playing, and can't wait to see what's next for you, my friend. And for all of you, we're in a last quarter moon. Release, release, release. New moon is Sunday the 14th. Blue skies, green lights, and lucky stars. Thank you for listening with me, Lorelei Robbins, your joy guru. If this episode sparked something in you, don't keep joy to yourself. Share and spread the light. Tune in the second and fourth Friday of the month at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, right here on Transformation Talk, where together we reclaim joy as the foundation for transformation. To dive deeper, visit me at JOYrules.com. And remember, joy isn't optional, it's essential. And visit JOYrules.com for lots more joy. Until next time, keep choosing joy and join the joy revolution. And until we connect, I wish you blue skies, green lights, and lucky stars.